Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. What's up, girl?
No, I was gonna say not a whole lot, but that's a lie. There's
Yeah.
always a lot going on.
Yeah, so before we hit the record button, I'd said something and I'm like, I gotta stop talking. I'm gonna stop talking to you. I can't talk to you now. And then Bev starts rolling off on some stuff. I'm like, stop talking because everything we were talking about is stuff we can share.
Which is so crazy. But I mean, we can share all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
first of all, my daughter's coming out today
yeah.
with or daughters. I'm not sure if both of them are coming out or not, but they bring out the grandkids, so it's early. So we're gonna meet early because it's warmer outside, and it's we're on solar, so there's a certain amount of electricity that's being used each day. So we are not running 2 units or anything like that to keep the house cool. So it's nicer to come out earlier in the day. And like I was telling you, that it's funny the transition because there was a time when my grandson was a baby, my first grandson, and we were constantly on the go all the time, and the kids were over every single night, and then my granddaughter was there every single night too, so we were always all together. And then life happened, and I moved outside of town about 20 minutes or so, and now I don't see the kids very often. My daughters. I see the grandkids because I make time to see them 3 times a week. And so now they're coming out and it's been awesome. So we had to switch our times. And then you started to say something and it's like, can't tell it. We can't talk about this right now. So
Well, what I
so
was
we had
gonna
to set it
say,
up earlier.
yeah. So what I was gonna say is typically we record around 10 o'clock in the morning. And right now on my clock it's 8:42, and so last night kind of late, I got a text from a coaching client who had an appointment at 9 o'clock this morning, and she said, I can't make it at 9 tomorrow morning, we're going to have to reschedule. So sorry for the late notice, blah blah blah. And I'm in that space now. I'm just like, okay, well, it's happening for, I don't get upset about it, as far as that goes. I'm just like, well, it's happening for a reason. Oh, I get to sleep in a little bit. And as I'm getting ready, Bev texts me and says, hey, can we do this earlier? And I asked, what time? And at about that time, it was like 8:20. She's like, oh, in 20 minutes. So I'm just like, well, there you go. Right. That 9 o'clock appointment wasn't
Oh,
supposed to
that's cool.
happen. It
Yeah.
was just all divinely orchestrated. And when we relax into that, I know we've talked about this so many times. It's just like relinquishing the idea that things are supposed to show up in a certain way at a certain time, meet our expectations and all the things. And I could also go off on expectations because of a recent event, but if you have anything else to say about what I've already talked about, please.
Actually, I would like to say things because I already, I talked to Spirit ahead of time, and Spirit's like giving me information, and it's something that I've been guided to do. I heard a reading about it a few weeks back, and it's like she could have been talking to many people, but I know that the conversation was happening for me. Nothing's by accident. I'm listening to this stuff, and it's like it's talking about becoming this master manifester. It's about showing people how to manifest differently, and I'm not and it doesn't matter if we have to say it over and over and over again. Like you just said, we've talked about these things a lot. Freeman and I talk about this stuff too, and it's sometimes, and he'll tell me something over and over and over again, maybe in different ways, or you have, and it's like I hear it again all of a sudden recently. Like I'm listening to Abraham Hicks again, and I'm listening to that all of a sudden. I'm like, holy shit! Like now, like I thought I had it before. I thought I got it, but now I get it. And there's like so many different layers of that. So it's like
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
allow the people to repeat the stories. Allow them to, because there's always a nugget that comes from it, from the information. Even if you've already heard it once before, there's a nugget because as soon as you're like, oh, I already heard this, I don't, you shut yourself down from receiving such brilliant information, which goes along with when we set our intentions, when we're these master creators. Just like you're a master creator. And now you know what you know how your outcome looks like, or you've been visualizing, or you see, what you would like it to look at. But it's like being in the flow of things, because the flow of things is going to take you, God, to far reaches, way beyond what you could have ever comprehended things could be. And it's so easy. It's so easy when you let go, when you're not trying to control it. Well, I was going to do this at this time. And thank you so much for your flexibility. But it's like this whole manifestation stuff, and I know it's spirit's been guiding me along, but it's like they'll show me things. And so now my visualization, and I've always been able to visualize, which is awesome because, it's not always easy for everybody. But I can do it. And the more that I focus on it, the easier it gets. But it's like, lately, if someone says something, I'll be like, well, for instance, right now I can see you planting something in the ground so the lightning hits it and changes it to gold. Like I can see. And then when I'm talking about this out loud, I start getting this excitement in my solar plexus and this thrilling excitement. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the millions of dollars. It's not about having everything right this minute. It's all about that journey along creating all this stuff. It's that being in that space of feeling that stuff. We sat here for like 2 days and we're still doing it, but creating a vision of our home that's going to, from the outside of the home, is going to look like a warehouse. And from the inside of the home, it's going to look something else. We talked one whole freaking Sunday about what this looks like. And it's like, if we got caught up on something of the other person's vision or whatever, eventually, if you just let it go and let it set for a little bit, and they'll try to push at it and try to figure it out, all of a sudden it flows into you. Now you're matching up with the other person. So it's like, it's freaking phenomenal. And you know this when you create with other people, but I'm creating with spirit. And so I have an idea of how I see things playing out. For instance, if I'm sitting in front of a group and I'm on a channel, if I'm sitting in front of the group, I can see the group in a circle all the way around me. Visually, I'm visualizing it. I'm not trying to create it. I'm not trying to go study more books about it. I'm not trying to do anything. All I'm doing is like sitting there and then knowing, because I've listened to enough information that kind of planted the seeds to give me information of how things can look like or what it might feel like, so that I'm not afraid when these things happen. But this one woman, I remember hearing her, and she says, it's like spirit, like this energy came through being like, tossed my soup to the side, passed it to, laid it across the back of the seat. And she was now a witness of this energy flowing through her and giving out this information. And so it's visualizing that, seeing myself in front of the group and just knowing that this has happened, because that's paving the way. I'm not like reaching, I'm not like hoping, I'm not like wishing. I'm just having an experience. And what does that feel like? And being in that space, and then knowing that this, for me, it would be creator flowing through, that's giving information not only to me and not only to everybody else, but to all of us. And then it ripples out, like to share that information, that knowledge that we're all thirsting for, that tangible information. We became so caught up in life and the physicality of things, the things that we can touch. And then we've lost sight of using the imagination, because it's been, a lot of people would say that was woo woo, or a lot of people would say, put your nose to the grindstone, because you can't do anything with that. And it's like spirit's telling me the only doing that I have to do at this time is spend time visualizing. So if I'm at work and a job that I don't like anymore, and I keep thinking like, why am I still here? And why am I still doing this? I am keeping myself in that space. I'm not visualizing what I want. So, and all that feeling is creating in me right at that moment is just that wanting and that desire, what Abraham says, shooting out rockets of desire of what you do want, because you've learned what you don't want. And it's just not staying in the space of focusing on what I don't want, which started with which we listened to Abraham. God, how many years ago? You sent this to me like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's like, I remember hearing it thinking, I don't know why she's sending this shit to me, because it just wasn't, I was not in that space. And it wasn't that it's shit. And I might have listened to it like a year later. Thankfully, you never gave up and you just sent another video out, because you didn't have an attachment to that outcome. I could listen to it or not listen to it. So it's been phenomenal, and that's where I'm at right now. So when I say, oh yeah, no, nothing's going on, everything's fine. No, that's the stuff that's going on. It's freaking fantastic.
And I'm the same way with the Abraham. I had a friend actually who gave them to me. She's like, oh, you got to listen to this. I have all these CDs, because at the time it was all about CDs. And so she gave me several, and she's like, oh yeah, listen to these. They're great. I listened to them and they didn't resonate with me at all. I was like, yeah, I can't. I don't understand what they're talking about. Do it.
You still listen to them at that time, even though it didn't resonate?
No,
Oh, gotcha.
I listened to it a
And I
little
gotta,
bit and I'm like, I don't get what this is doing. And so I didn't listen to them for a long time. I held on to them, but I didn't listen to them for a long time. And then, and in between, I read a lot of other books, reading books and taking in other things. And then I thought, maybe it's time to listen to this again. Talking about the Abraham CDs. And so I put one in and it was like a whole nother world. Like, wow, what is this that they're talking? And it was exciting then, right? So I
so funny.
understand what you're talking about because I went through a similar thing. And when you're talking about being in that creative flow, I also just recently, like this past week, listened to an Abraham video, and what she talked about, because her and Jerry, Esther and Jerry had a house built in Texas, and she said they would be somewhere else on tour doing whatever they were doing or visiting, and they would just call the general contractor and talk to him and say, well, describe to us what this is like and tell us what you're doing. And so they would just get into that visualization and the creativity of it. And what she said in that video, she goes, it would have never mattered if we would have lived in it at all. Even if we never lived in it, it was the idea of the creativity of it, and be able to talk to this general contractor who would tell us the things that was happening and what they were creating and what they were designing and what they were building. And when she said that, it was like a whole, like, again, like, wow, just being in the creative flow of it is what matters. And even though, like we talk about the same things a lot, like almost every week, there's certain things that we say, you still got to be reminded. You still, or have to hear it in a different way. And that's, I think, what happened this time is she kind of said it in a different way. She gave the idea. We weren't even in the house. The house was being built. We were everywhere else, and we're talking to the contractor on the phone, and he's describing all these wonderful things and even in her talking about it, she was you could feel all the giddiness and the excitement about it. And then she said, and it didn't even matter if we ever lived in it. We had already experienced it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like things come to you just when you need to hear it. And we just went through a similar experience, only it kind of went on the flip side of at work, we planned this event, it's a big event. And in the beginning stages of it, a lot of excitement in the creativity of it. But then as things, as time went by, the energy of it started getting lower. Oh my God, there's so many things oh my God, this person's not doing what they're supposed to. Oh my God, right? All the oh my God moments. And then you could start feeling the stress of it, because now then the deadlines start coming up of, well, we got to get this done, we got to get this done, and it needs to be done, right? And so that excitement dissipated. And by the time the event was that we were already exhausted before the event even happened. And then two full days of the event in the heat, having to stay hydrated, dealing with people. And I say that in a way because I feel like we did attract some, a little bit of discord, nothing like huge heavy, but it's when you're already tired and you're out in that heat and everything, and then people are coming to you complaining about things, you're just like you're just reaching your drain point. And that's kind of where we were at. And then so the experience was great in the idea of, look of everything I saw and witnessed, and I'm now acknowledging. And that's information I need as I move forward. Right. So it's like, okay, we got to stay in that as much as possible, stay in that creative flow and the excitement of it, and the excitement of co-creating with not only a universe, but with other people. And it's interesting when you are working with other people who are more so on the side of the, oh my God, and nothing goes right, and trying to hold the space for all of that, and then doing the best you can within yourself. So it can be a little tricky on that when you're working with other people. So,
You know, it's kind of could go parallel, and I don't know how you could do it if everybody would conform to it. But what I'm thinking of, like, so I think of a farm school, right? I'm thinking about how I can do things with the kids and how where I'm living at, and how the day would start off would be with meditation. Honestly, whether it's me and two littles, three littles, 10 littles, but we're all relaxed, laid down on our floor, on the backs, in the grass, whatever, in a meditation space, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it's doing it because we kind of all align at the same time, right? So now there's not an attachment to an outcome for the kids. And it's like, even for the adults, like if there was a way, because it could have made all their lives easier, right? If everybody would have stopped, even though they know, because there's so much of an attachment to an outcome. So it's learning how to do this on a daily, like, or even just stop and take the 3 breaths. Gosh, I listened to a video that one of my amazing people sent me, was talking about breath is God, basically. Breath is the creator. And it's like taking the time to focus on that breath and recognizing that I'm coming home to who I am. I know who I am, like standing in that power and doing it for 10 or 15 minutes. But you don't even have to do it that long. If you had to focus for 3 minutes, that's a hell of a focus, right? The thing is, when you're doing all these big deals like this, there's so much focus that's going outside of you, and because of that, there's an imbalance already. So it's like, it just made me think, because I was already writing down meditation, farm school, thinking of chores. But when you say chores or job, we think it's something that's going to take effort, and it can be effortless. So you just got to witness what efforting looks like. 100%.
for sure.
Yeah. Trying to push it. And it's like, and just like spirit's telling me, like, the only thing I'm supposed to be doing right now is just visualizing, seeing what you're doing. Don't sit, if I'm doing something I don't like to do, don't be in that space of what I don't like to do and then feeding that energy more of what I don't want. Because it's like, we don't have to. And the best way to do that, right, is to quiet our minds for a few minutes. And even if a person can't quiet it, I tell them to mind dump. One of my, we have a group or whatever, there's a person that's been diagnosed with things. And then there's another person these 2 other people have been in hospice. And it's so fascinating because, I used to beat myself up because I didn't have all the answers. Like, if someone, like, God, when they would say something, or you would say something, I'm like, how come I didn't know that? Or how come I didn't say that? Oh, I know that, but how come I didn't say it? And how come I didn't say it like that? I've let go of all that stuff, because that's what makes us so unique. That's what makes us so awesome, because we've all had different experiences. And it allows me, now I get to witness this behavior. And the girl was saying, like, what do you believe in? And so it's like, it's just simple. What do you believe in? And she's like, well, I believe in God or whatever. She's like, okay, I want you to imagine that you're sitting there. And she says, have you ever seen like the sunlight coming through and it seems like there's flecks coming through it? Imagine that entering your body, and just knowing, okay, send that healing energy wherever it's needed, not having an attachment to it. Because even though you might have a healing, it may not be on a body healing. And even though, just getting these people in a visualization for 30 seconds is huge. Me having a conversation, how long was I even talking about it? Well, the part where I started right here, and I'm visualizing, seeing the other person receiving something, it's probably less than a minute. And I could already feel that I was uplifted, my energy shifted. So it's like, there's so many opportunities. But like you said, we're not here to push it down anybody's throat. And for me, with the kids, when they're like at each other, I know that the best thing that I can do is reset us and then start again.
That's
And so
awesome.
in a work environment, hello guys, this could be beneficial to everybody if you can start implementing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, you could have some people that kind of buck up against it, or you could visualize seeing everybody in that group and just like, taking a big deep breath and just letting it go, and then feeling like, okay, Because even from that moment, even from all that chaos, all of a sudden everything starts shifting. And then recognizing where you're at. You're out in the heat. You need to stay hydrated, eat food, stay cool. Like there's all these things, all these factors that are out of balance. And so when you got all that out of balance, it's hard for us, even when we can maintain our energies better, maybe because we've been practicing longer, it's hard for us to stay in that space when one little dip happens, it's like all of a sudden you're like, boom, you're like right down in their stuff. And
Yeah.
I say their stuff, and where the frequency they're vibing at.
Yeah.
And we could shift it so easily, and you know that with just a few breaths. So like next time someone comes up and complains, I don't know, hey, let me have your hand for a second. Let's take a deep breath. I don't know, let's shift this, because we can't, because it's the thing is, it'll have to happen. It doesn't have to. It could happen in situations that are a lot smaller than this one, because this was a big deal, right? So a little situations that were leading up to prior to it. But it's instead, like even the person worrying about what the other person's doing, man, that's just like worrying about where the money's coming from. Visualize how you see it at the final, like what does it look like at the end, and then enjoying that journey all the way there. And it's easier when you can practice it with other people, with their stuff. Like, I see you doing this, and then see what flows through when you're saying that, because it's like, it's awesome. Because sometimes we get kind of in the muck of our own stuff, and then we realize we start throwing in limitations and lacking stuff. And when we're that open flow for somebody else, we're also that open flow for ourselves.
Yeah. And you keep talking about the breath, and you said 3 minutes, and I just kind of smiled, because recently, this last week, I was here and I was in 2 other cities teaching about stress, managing stress in the workplace for the city and county employees within the court system and the emergency systems. And I just before that, a few weeks ago, I learned about a heart-brain coherence, and it's done in 3 minutes.
Nice.
And so I'm just going to explain that real quick for the audience, so that they can implement it. 3 minutes of your life. Like, I think we all have 3 minutes somewhere in our day, and maybe do it 3 times a day. That's 9 minutes. So you think about a good feeling emotion, and you hold on to that feeling, that sensation, or a good feeling memory, and you think about that, and then you inhale and then exhale longer than you inhale. And so you could utilize counting for that, right? So you inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6, and those numbers can be bigger. And you do that for 3 minutes. And from 3 minutes of breath work and holding this good feeling sensation in your body could have lingering effects up to 6 hours.
And those breaths in slow like that, or breath in, like you said, 4 to 6, 5 to 7, I learned 5 to 7, stimulates the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
And that brings the soothing with inside the self, with inside the body, scientifically proven, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
it affects the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation process response in the body. And yes, it does activate the vagus nerve as well. And amazing. I had them all do it, and they're just like, oh, right. You can feel the entire room just like wow. So it was great.
So it's so funny. I noticed, and they don't realize how they're bouncing off of each other's energies all day long. And then when they get that breath, it slows them down there, and like, oh, they feel kind of tired. I'll go pick up Colton, or maybe it's usually pretty more even kill, I would say, a lot of the time. But Colton, well, maybe that's not true. I can notice it with Colton really well when there's chaos around him, or there's a lot of activity or a lot of energy going on around. He's like, bing, 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 bing. And then I get him in the truck and it's like we're driving out and he's all mellow. I'm like, what do you think that is the difference? What, so, because I want him to be, I want his perspective on it, but I want him to be paying attention to notice these kind of things. And I said, what do you think the difference is? And then he wasn't really, he's like, I don't know. And I said, do you think it has to do with the energy? I just said, does the energy feel more calm here? Because sometimes he'll get here, like he'll be like bouncing off the walls at his house. And then I get him in the car and we're driving out and it's like, he's already peaceful. And then he gets out to the house and it's like, he might want to just relax and we'll just come in that we won't even play outside. We'll come in the room and play with Legos, or we'll do something or paint or something that's more mellow, which is not, doesn't seem like it would match with the energy that it was in. But the thing is, when they come out here and there's no, we don't have a lot of Wi-Fi around us. We don't have a lot of stuff going on. A lot of our energies are pretty even kill. We might be off a little bit here and there, but it's not like dealing with, if an adult's having chaos within the side of themselves, then the reflection is going to happen into the animals and the children. And it's not because it's their fault, it's because they just don't know, right? And so that's why farm school, give parents a break, have them come out here learning things, cleaning, because kids love to do all that stuff as long as we're making it fun. And they don't know the difference. They don't know the difference if a job's supposed to be hard or easy or anything. Everything can be fun. And it's like I have learned differently from that. Gosh, if you were having fun, that means you were probably working hard enough. That was the perspective then. And it's like, you'll get so much more out of a person if they're in a space of joy while they're doing these things. It's just, I notice it when they come out here that they're more mellow. Vivi will come out here and it's like, it's a perfect opportunity. I pick her up early. We lay down for a nap and it's like, I've learned some techniques that I found on Instagram or whatever. It's like, you just barely touch the nose like 3 times and you come up and put your finger on the third eye and you drag your fingers lightly across the lids down the nose and you come back and tap the nose again. I do it like 3 or 4 times and then she rolls over and she's out. Like it's that easy. And then that's an opportunity right at that moment for me to meditate. I don't stay in it that long. She'll stay in her nap longer. And then I get up afterwards and go do whatever I want to do. We're just not utilizing our time frames. And because we get in that chaotic, just like all the energy was for this whole thing you guys created. But it's just like that same, because I was the parent too, doing all the same things. And it's like, I don't have time for take a nap. And I don't have time. That was the words that I was using, but I've got plenty of time. But so knowing that I have plenty of time, I got to do that and do that with her. And it gives me a peaceful time and I get a chance to spend some time with her. And those are the moments. Those are the moments that matter to our littles. Those are the moments that we spend with them, not with us in our phone, not with us playing our video games, not with us doing whatever else that's not giving them. And it doesn't take that much time. And then you have so much time. You feel so free when you don't feel like you have all that heaviness and that chaos on you. You're a superhuman, right? Supernatural, just like Joe Dispenza. I've been listening to that book recently too. So
phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's like just great stuff. There's just but that's where I'm gravitating towards now.
Yeah, nice. We talked about a lot of stuff. So in this short amount of time, and telling you, if you listen to this and didn't get anything out of it, that's not on us. You better listen to it again. So what we always suggest is that whatever you learned in this conversation, that just take the one thing that you can implement, the one thing that resonated with you the most, and then implement it into your life and practice with it for not just 3 minutes, for several days, weeks. Make an appointment with yourself to sit and do some breath work, and just notice how different you begin to show up in your life and how things begin to shift in your environment and with people. And so my goal for myself is just to be and do better in each and every day. And that's my practice. And so whatever that looks like for you, stay on the journey, stay on the path, and just keep going. Any final words, Bev?
Take some time for yourself because you matter.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. The 3 minutes, 3 times a day, that's simple. And then you'll notice that you just have so much more to offer. Because you can't keep paying from an empty checkbook, and you can't keep giving water to someone with an empty pitcher. You just can't. You just don't have it. And
Yeah.
that this is the way to fill ourselves up, and it's a small amount of time. So it's a choice.
And I have a mentor in business, and one of the things she taught us a long time ago was if you don't create your schedule, somebody else will.
Yeah.
So
That's just
that's
like master. That's being a master manifester too. It's the same thing.
so that's why it's important to schedule your appointments with yourself, to do some breathing, to do some meditating, to read a book, to go to the, get your body movement in. You have to make those appointments with yourself, put them on your calendar, set a reminder, set an alarm, something to keep you in the flow of your self.
If you guys have questions, ask us. Put it in the feed.
Yeah.
Send a message on the side. Whatever. If there's anything that we've talked about, ask questions.
Yep, for sure. All right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We come out with you every week. So be sure to share us if our videos are resonating with you, the information. We have over 4 years of video content on YouTube. And we're on so many other platforms: Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio. We're in Facebook, Instagram. So reach out. There's plenty of avenues to connect with us and to share our content. So if this is resonating with you, please let other people know about it. And because there's a lot of people on the planet kind of would benefit from hearing some of these conversations.
It's true.
All right, my friends, take care, and we will see you next time.
Bye.